Welcome back to My Crazy, My Rules, where the only crazy thing is my fondness for reading your letters and seeing a piece of your thoughts. I'm Benn Shannon, and I'll be your host, and it's time to grab a coffee, settle in, and let's listen to this next letter together. Because that's what we do here. We share our crazy, one story at a time. Remember, this podcast is made great by your letters, so keep sending them in. This next story is sent in from right here in Texas by a very nice young lady who asked me to please share her story. And this is quite an emotional letter, and it tells you about how cruel and thoughtless people can be. You know, I was saying teenagers and even adults, but this just shows how cruel people can be. Sometimes, though, we're lucky enough to find the help we were looking for. And it doesn't have to be a person. Some of us can find it in our religion. And this story begins. When I was about 11 years old, I was brutally attacked in a parking lot by 5 people. There were 2 teenagers, 2 women, and 1 man. And then, after they attacked me, they left me there to die. This happened when my mom was in prison. That's a completely different story. I said I was 11, but I don't remember exactly. I may have been 11 or 12. I lived with my brother, who was about 21 at the time. My brother worked out of state, so I would be left alone at home for days at a time. With this much time alone, I became a bad kid, just doing whatever. So one day, I got into a fight with this girl. We fought, and then after we fought, we went our separate ways. She went her way, and I went over to my friend's apartment. Well, I thought she was my friend. She came up to the apartment and told me, "Hey, the girl you fought with, her mom, is downstairs and wants to talk to you." Not thinking anything of it, I went outside and down the stairs to the parking lot. As I got down there, I saw the girl I fought with, her mom and dad, one of her friends, and her friend's mom. The girl I fought with mom said, "You messed up my daughter's braces, and y'all are going to fight again right now." The girl I fought is crying and saying, "Mom, no." Now I see she probably knew what her family was going to do to me. The girl came up and swung at me. I wasn't about to just stand there and get hit, so I swung back and hit her. Her mom came over and pulled me down by my hair onto the ground and started beating me in the head with her heels while the dad was kicking me all over my body. He kicked me in the ribs, face, body, and all over, and then all of them started attacking me. I was about to black out, and I see an older lady open the window to her car and scream, "Get off of her! I called the police already." I could hear her crying for me helplessly. I look back now that it was Jesus who was guiding her. So my so-called friends at the time were all standing around watching and recording what was happening. At least 5 of them were kids I hung out with all the time, and not one of them helped me or even called for help. They just kept recording. I ended up blacking out and woke up an hour or 2 later in the hospital. I was told I was lucky to be alive. I thanked God for the lady that called the police. I was told by the officer that if it wasn't for her, I would be dead. The ones that were beating me were not planning on stopping, and all the rest of my friends did nothing to help. Well, at least the police were able to watch the video that my friends took to see what actually happened. The ones that beat me were never arrested, and we didn't pursue them. I mean, my mom was in jail, my father was non-existent, and my brother was 21 years old taking care of me and still trying to figure out life for himself. I wanted to go back to school, but because of my injuries, I was not able to. The blood vessels around my eyes were completely red where they should have been white. And this was one of the many injuries I had. The school basically told me that they would send a teacher to bring my schoolwork home to me, but the teachers never sent any schoolwork, but they did send me some get well cards. A few weeks later, I did go back to school. As I was walking back to school, I saw a familiar car. It was the parents of the girl I fought with. They started chasing me down an alley in their car, and I was running for my life. Luckily, I was able to hop the fence of the school field and run into the school. I told them what happened. Instead of doing anything, they just had the police take me home. Then they passed me for the 6th grade without me even having to complete the school year. A few months later, my mom got released from jail. Shortly thereafter, we moved. From that point on, I never cried about it or talked to anyone about it. I would forget about it for years at a time. I stopped being friends with anyone because of the problems. I was subconsciously afraid to talk to people or to trust anyone. Years later, I met my husband, and I believe he was literally sent by God to save me. Before I met him, I was still going back to Louisville to hang out with all those that had abandoned me. I did this for years. After he and I got together, I would still want to go back there to be with the people who were no good for me. They did not even care about me. When I wanted to go, he would tell me, no, I do not like them. So thank God I listened to him. He knew they were not good friends and I should stop hanging out with them. To this day, many are still on bad paths. Some of those that recorded me have been in and out of prison many times. July of last year, about 17 years since everything that happened, I had an office for my work. Next to my office was an attorney. He was a big dude, like 6'3" and over 350 pounds. Whenever I would talk with my clients in my office, he would rap hard on the wall that separated the office and yell for us to shut the up. This happened anytime he felt we were making too much noise. He did this even though we continuously heard him screaming at his own clients in his office. One day, it finally got to be too much for me. I had an employee ask me, when is this going to stop, after he was again rapping on our wall and cursing from his office. I walked out of my office and immediately into his office. I went up to the receptionist and told them I needed to speak with the man who keeps yelling at us to shut the up through the wall. This big bulk of a man came out of his office, walked right up to me, and started screaming in my face. He was aggressively closing the space between us. He kept insulting me, telling me I am a terrible mother, I had my daughter on my hip, and a terrible business owner. He kept cursing and trying to intimidate me. He was so close and so loud, I felt like he was going to shove me through the glass wall. Luckily, just like when I was a child, an older lady intervened. She walked into his office and stopped his aggressive behavior. He immediately flipped the script and told his receptionist to call the police since I would not leave. He never even asked me to leave. He was just trying to make the client in his office think that whatever was happening was not because of him. Now, I consider myself a confident and joy-filled person, but suddenly, because of this, I started feeling full of fear and anxiety. I walked out to the parking lot to where my husband was waiting to pick up our daughter. I gave him our daughter and went back inside to go back to my office. I couldn't even take the elevator because I would have to go by his office. Just the thought of that gave me incredible anxiety. I took the stairs and had a massive panic attack. After a moment, I pulled myself together and went back to work. Later on, after my team was through for the day and left, I had another massive panic attack. What was happening to me? I didn't realize, or I couldn't realize, why the seemingly small and insignificant altercation was having such a hard impact on me. I had another friend who was in the building walk out with me at the end of the day. I told her I would be fine, but I just felt off. The people that were in the attorney's office watched us walk onto the elevator and laughed at us behind our backs. They pointed and made faces. That evening, I decided to do some research on this attorney. I found some reviews on him left from a person from about 10 years ago. That person stated he was screaming at me aggressively to the point where I thought he was going to take a swing at me. I felt the same exact way. I had no way of knowing what he might do to me, and I was seriously scared. The next day, I called the police to file a report and to make sure everything was documented. This was in case he did anything to me in the future. The police did come out and take the report, but they basically told me the same thing they always did. There's nothing they can do about it. This was the same thing that happened when I was a kid. This time I was verbally assaulted and intimidated by someone much bigger than me. I got no protection from the police, and the bad guy did not face any consequences. This situation triggered me and turned into CPTSD, complex post-traumatic disorder, since I had never dealt with what happened to me as a child. Having something so similar triggered it. I started having 3 to 5 panic attacks a day. I couldn't calm down for at least 6 weeks. I was constantly in a state of fear. I couldn't go to work. I would get scared when I would see a similar car to the one that the attorney drove. And this happened even if I was on a highway far away. I was consumed by anxiety and fear. It was truly sad. Then, in September of 2024, I cried out to God and I prayed for him to take it all away. I had full faith that he would. I prayed to him and said, "Here is my life, God. Here is my family, my business, my marriage, and my children. You can have it all." And immediately, I felt God heal me. I cried like a baby because I actually could feel his presence with me in my bathroom. I felt God tell me, "You are healed, my daughter. Now go tell everyone what I have done for you." That is the point in which my entire life changed, and I didn't even realize I was missing anything. Now I make sure to tell my story to everyone as I am telling you now. It is a story of hope and a beautiful future. It is a story of overcoming fears, and it is a story of healing and fulfillment that's possible only through God. I have not had a single panic attack since that moment I was healed. I have never been so fulfilled in my life. I have purpose and true joy. People that know me have seen the change in me and ask me about it. They want to experience what I have. In November of last year, I moved offices. It was about 5 weeks after that wonderful moment in my bathroom. I now have the best possible location for an office in all of Texas, and my business has blossomed. We have seen 5 of our best months ever in business since we opened, and that is just this year. I can now look back at my life and see everywhere God has been with me. I also see him in the moment now. I am thankful for what he has done for me, and that is why I am sharing my story. I pray that it will inspire others to have a little faith and just see where it takes you. That was an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and sharing how you overcame it. I am so very glad that now you are living the life that you had hoped for. While no one deserves that kind of pain and suffering, it is good for others to hear how you were able to get through it. Thanks for listening to another episode of My Crazy, My Rules. No one's normal, and here, that's something we celebrate. If you've got a story to share, a comment to make on this week's letter, or just something you need to say, email me at letters@mycrazymyrules.com. That's letters@mycrazymyrules.com, and you can be anonymous or not. That's your choice. And if you feel that you need help, if you feel confused and you can't figure things out for yourself and you just need to talk to someone, please seek help now. Don't wait. You can contact the National Suicide Hotline by calling 988. Or you can text them by sending a text to 741-741 and ask for help. You can also chat with them by emailing them at 988lifeline.org. These people are here for you. If you like today's letter, please make sure to subscribe, share the show with your friends, family, or anyone who needs to know they're not alone. I am striving towards my first 100 followers, and I'm counting on you to help me reach that goal. So until next time, it's my crazy, my rules. What's yours?